Good morning. It's Wednesday. Yes, it is. And it's time for doing things with Dice and Dungeons on this model of the Star Trek command bridge. And I would show you the box top cover art, but it's over there and it's covered in stuff because, that's how things happen here. But I have to uncover it later anyway. So I'll do that then. This is a box of stuff that got painted Monday afternoon and yesterday. So I'm going to unbox this, and I'm looking at it already, and I can see that there are some things that need some touching up. But let's take stuff out of the box. I'm going to move the box, and then I'll show you what needs to be done. I'll probably just do that down here, even though that's not the best thing to do. I've done it before, with, and it's worked okay. This is what used to be in this box. Well, good thing the filter is working on the microphone. They're doing construction outside on the construction project that's finally happening, and it's very loud. Okay, these are the railings. Here, let me just do this. You can see what I'm talking about. Sorting through sandpaper here. This a little bit. In a little while. These are going. Oh, here. Yeah, I told you I was going to show you this, so I might as well do that. This is the command bridge, and these are the railings up here that are going to be painted red on tops and bottoms, and then all of these bits are these things that hold it up. And apparently the railing just goes along the tops of these, and there's no notches or anything. They're just supposed to line up somehow. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So that's that. That's the top. That's the bottom. These little niches, I guess, fit into the walkway there. And then these are the chairs. And the sad thing about the chairs is that the official Star Trek chairs have this kind of rounded bit here. They're blue on the bottom and then black on the top on the back. And if these people were really good at making the model, what they would have done, because you can see on the picture there's sort of a ridge there, they would have molded that ridge in, and then I could have hand painted that, but there's no ridge there, and so it's just next to impossible. Well, for me at least. I mean, if I were a really good painter, I would be able to just freehand that on all 6 of these, and that would be that. But I'm not, so I can't. So what I am going to do is I'm going to just mask the seat and leave it this gray color, and then paint the back and bottom of this this bright blue or something similar. These are the bases for the chair, and you would think, with a little point like this, that there'd be like a hole or something in the bottom, but there's not. There's sort of a line there, where it says put the chair here, but there isn't any. There's nothing. There's no hole there, so it's just going to flop around all over the place. Getting these chairs to be just vertical. Yeah, They just made this a lot harder than it needed to be. I was sort of tempted to drill a little pilot hole there, but I'm not sure that would do any good. So this went okay. These went okay. As much as these can go, they've gone okay. Some of these have not gone okay, and I'll explain that in just a little while. But I want to take these off and put them somewhere where they will be okay. This is sort of a fun box. These are the stairs. The elevator door here. The elevator doors are going to be painted red. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set these in here for the to be painted red part. Pile down there just to keep it from being around or whatever. Just there. So probably, maybe not today, but tomorrow I'll probably paint these red. These need to be red on both sides, bottom and top. And the elevator doors just need to be painted red on the doors. So I'll do these in 2 bits, the back first, and then, well, that was just really dumb. Okay. What I did was dumb because they need to be painted, spray painted red. I should have just left them on here, shouldn't I? Yeah, that's what I should have done. Is just left them on here because then I can just paint them red and then turn them over and paint them red on the other side because they'd have to come back here anyway. So, well, that's a start. That's one way to start the stream is by going, what am I thinking? Oh, I'm not thinking. These can all go in the to be painted place, which doesn't exist as a real place. It will be, I don't know, somewhere else. This is the main view screen. This is a side screen. There are decals that go on these. Maybe I'll do that sometime. This is the command navigation thing. This gets attached to the ring of the raised platform ring. Well, there's just stuff to do. I was looking for a place to put put these chairs until they're ready to be painted, taped, until they're ready to be masked and painted. But I don't have that. I've got lots of little boxes, but they're not here. I have to get up. This is what I do. I get up and wander around, I guess. There, that was my wander. I like to put a paper towel down just because cardboard is actually kind of here for the time being. It's kind of abrasive, and it can rub paint off. These little discs are the stands for the Sulu and Spock minifigs. There are minifigs that come with this that maybe someday I'll get around to painting. bits of tape here on my fingers. So the main thing I need to do today is not mess with these, but to keep working on the iteration back and forth of the lines, the frames, the white frames on the display panels, and I will be getting to that soon. But first, I've got an issue with these. You might recall from a couple of streams ago that there were molding circles on these things, and I sanded them off, but I didn't get them all. Okay. And then once they're painted, they really show. You can see them. You can see them here. Like I missed these somehow. These are all pretty good. This one's a little bit of a problem there, but this one's bad. So I'm going to take these off, and the ones that are not good, looking at the other side, the couple that are not good, I'm going to very quickly sand down and just spritz a little bit of paint on them. And I know there won't be a primer underneath, but I don't think that will be an issue. Circle showing there. Yeah. But apparently putting little circles in places where it's annoying and it shows and it makes it look ugly is an essential part of the injection molding process, I guess, because they just show up on everything all the time. Everything. I mean, the model parts, not everything. You know, like the cardboard doesn't have them, and the sandpaper doesn't have them, and the paint brushes, and you know what I mean. I'm being too literal here, and I know that's not very amusing, really. So this one is bad. It is just what I think. Three of them have a problem. Let me do that really quickly. I think I can do that without causing a problem. There is a problem. The problem is I've cluttered up my workbench again, and I don't have any place to put anything. So I've got this 1000 grit sandpaper. This should work okay. I'm just going to cut a little bit off. There's a 1000 grit sandpaper triangle, and you can see the circle there, and the ones on here are it's kind of exceptionally bad. So this will take the paint off and probably the primer. Pretty sure that the metallic paint will cover that okay. If not, then I'll just have to, it'll be one of these 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of things, where if this shortcut, because every shortcut so far has been a failure, if the shortcut is a failure, then I'll need to sand off all of the paint on this side and repainted it. You were. I really hope the lifter's working. They're drilling some holes in the side of the house. Seriously, um, and it's really very loud. After I'm done doing this, hopefully successful and quick removal of residual molding rings. Yep. Hope there's a side of the house left when they're done. Wow. Yeah, you could actually see it as I was sanding it here. Circle. Go away. I guess I used like 400 grit on it earlier. Maybe I should have done that again. The finer the grit, the longer it takes to get. Slightly coarser here. Circle is being very persistent, which is probably why it was still there. And I'm just going to polish it and feather the edges. I don't know. We'll see if this works. If it does, then it will have been a successful shortcut. If it doesn't, then it will be yet another shortcut failure, of which there have been many. Like every shortcut so far has been a failure. Pretty amazing. It's been a pretty amazing streak of shortcut failures. I have the paper towel under there trying to keep the sanding dust from getting on things where I don't want it, which is everywhere. I don't want it anywhere. Sounded like I was breaking it. Now you can see where the circle is there. Dot. It's down lower. It's insidiously hidden. To rub away at this. It's almost paper towel's more harm than good, isn't it? Yes, it's really deep. Really deep. Wow. Like 400 maybe. Bit of 600 I thought would work, but taking quite a while to get that down. Yeah, that was that little molding circle hole. Very, very deep into the plastic, much more than the others. Hmm. See what happens. This one looks like it's raised up, and that one's down. Okay, I need to find 400 if there is any left in here. Some of these are extremely fine, like this is like 3,000 grit. It's almost like jeweler's rouge. Good. Really close. Uh, really pretty deep, and this one looks like a bulbous thing. Now you can see it like on the other one. You can see the dot there. Keep going too far over that way. You can see the dot there where it's. Coarser sandpaper takes the plastic away much more quickly. You can see like the little bit of an outline of that. It's just a lump. It's a bump. Okay, now it's gone. Now I'll use this stuff and try to polish out little scratch marks and then feather down the. Yeah, I'm being much more careful with this than I was planning. I thought, well, I'm not that emotionally invested in this model. It would be something kind of quick and easy, and now it's turning out not to be. But it'll get done. So what I'm going to do is, I don't recommend this, but I've done this before with little touch-ups, is just I'm going to, the box that I put on the floor, I'm going to put these in the box and just give it a little spritz this metallic paint and see how it turns out. And hopefully it'll be okay. At least it won't have little circles on it. At least that. Got a bunch of, when I get rid of all these little bits of tape, they're going to really be in the way. I've got kind of like a spray booth thing over there, but it's all full of boxes from the Apollo model. I'm just going to set this in the box, and here, hold on. Yeah, I'm wandering around again, down on the floor, picking stuff up. After I do this, I'm going to go back to painting white and gray, trying to get the white frames, to look good on the display panel. That's my intent. But I need to wander off again. I'm going to wander off again and do this little bit of spray, and hopefully it'll work. I'll have to put primer on them again and then respray them. If I need to do that, I'll do that. But this is what needs to be done. So I painted 2 coats of gray on all of these display panels. There's a bunch of them here. And that got gray onto the frames. And then I painted the frames white, and that got white onto the gray, like just along here around the edge. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the gray paint out and attempt to even out the little bits of raggedness as much as I can, without getting it back on the white. If I do get it on the white, then I'll have to go back with the gray and just keep going back and forth until it looks good. It doesn't look too bad, but it's not great. It's not going to be great. It doesn't look too bad, but it's not good. I guess that's a better way to put it. It's not adequate yet. So I'll see how I'll do here. I find that with this kind of thing, for me, I don't know if you're more skilled, maybe it wouldn't be a problem for you, is that it looks okay from like one angle, but then you turn it and it's gone too far. That's what happened up here. It looked okay as I was painting the white this way, but then I turned it this way, and the white went too far. And then after that, I'll probably need to do a little white touch up just in spots where the white hasn't covered very well, or where I get the gray back too far the other direction. And then there'll be a massive paint pile up. Close this box. These screens. Yeah, it's pretty clear with these the head magnifiers on what needs to be done. Being clear what needs to be done and actually getting it to be done, well, those are two different things. Well, that's an issue. So what's happening here is that the white paint is above the level of the gray paint because, it's a layer of paint higher. Is the gray paint not covering the white paint? It's like it's not adhering. This is pretty not good. It's that went okay. I don't know what's going on there. It's like it wasn't adhering to the white paint. Hmm. It's like if I push it in this direction, it's okay. If I go in the other direction, it doesn't. Paint is not supposed to be unidirectional. It's just it's not sticking to the white. It should be just a real simple sort of thing. It's become a challenge. It's like a little spot of paint should just go. I'm going to say this actually doesn't, even under the magnifiers, it doesn't look too bad. I'm going to say this one is a success. Which is the one I just did. This one. But as I'm doing this, I'm just discovering that the gray paint does not like to adhere to the white. So this is just going to take considerably longer than I was expecting. Hmm. No, sorry about that. No, I guess I shouldn't apologize. I just, and sometimes it flows on just like, okay, okay, this line here, it's kind of like going right along, and then it doesn't. Hmm. Much that can be done about that. There's just like a blip of excess paint or plastic. It's hard to tell what it is. Well, I should be doing a monologue about something while I'm doing this, but as has been the case for weeks now, I don't have anything to talk about. I used up my. Oh, yeah, I just got a spot of paint there. I just got the brush in the wrong spot. Good attempt to wipe that off. Let me try. I mean, can save yourself a lot of trouble if I can just get that to go away. Maybe it'll work, maybe not. No, it's okay. I just got distracted by doing that. I almost did my brush in the coffee. That would have been hilariously stupid. Now, listen to the. You can listen to the sounds of silence here. This is where it really would be helpful to have the music back. To be playing something like dramatic. Dum, 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 dum. A little too high there. That's the thing about going back and forth. Is it looks good in one direction and then not in the other direction, and then When do you say it's good? This one's not too bad. It's just the white paint isn't covered very well, so it just looks a little scabby. So I don't think it's so much the line that's the issue as much as it is that the white paint didn't cover and it needs to be painted. I mean, recoated. It's really kind of what it looks like here. So you know, not going back and forth a lot is a good thing. Why did my brush tip come undone? So spread out for their own nefarious reasons, I guess. So far, this is going okay. Nothing really terrible so far. Usually, usually not a good thing to say. That usually portends something going badly. It's getting better. Uh, this isn't going to be an A plus sort of thing, but it's not a B minus either. So that's good. What I've done with this, I guess I'll just talk about what I'm doing because I don't have anything else to talk about. is that I attempted a shortcut. And the shortcut, first of all, involved painting this upper part here with the view screens white without a primer. And that did not work. The paint just puddled up. It just ran. It didn't adhere to the surface very well. Wow, what is going on? You don't get to hear all the stuff I got to hear because of the filter on the microphone, but you can't hear the drilling that's going on. Apparently, to the side of the house, that's been really very loud. And you just now didn't hear one of the dogs just really losing it. What that was about, but there was a lot of barking going on. It'd be more interesting, wouldn't it? And if you could hear that, I could say, oh, listen to that. There's a lot of noise going on. I wonder what that is. I hope it's okay. Okay, then I could speculate about that and begin to worry. Then you could share my concern about what's happening. You know, they weren't barking at the construction noise, which is kind of weird. It's corners. This side is taking quite a while to paint. Guess it's turning out okay. I mean, as much as any of this is. Another one of those where I think I need to try to wipe it off. It just got it'll either work or it won't, right? Yeah, it worked. The brush just slipped a little bit. Okay, I need to let that dry. So while that's drying, I will go on to another spot. The first shortcut I tried, putting a coat of, it's called pure white. Okay, putting pure white paint on this panel, priming it, and that didn't work. The paint didn't adhere. I had puddles. It was just really a mess. And so I addressed that by putting primer over the whole. which, worked okay. There's still some spots that where the white is just still way too thick, but it doesn't show too badly. Okay, but that was the first shortcut. And the second shortcut was I thought, well, the base color of the plastic is kind of white. At least it looked like it. Um, so the technique I used when I was a teen building models then to put some paint on and then just scratch away to the under plastic where there was a little too much of it. And I tried that here. I painted some of the gray, and then where it was too thick, I tried to scratch it away. And two things happened, both of which were bad. One was that I didn't just scratch away on the frame. Okay, it just scratched away in other places too where I didn't want it to scratch away. And the other is that the color of the underlying plastic is really very quite dark. And where the few spots where it was successfully scratched away, it just looked terrible anyway. So that was a failure, and then I had to reprime that. Then I decided, well, I guess my only choice now is to do what I'm doing, which is to paint the gray. Paint the frame white, and then come back with the gray, and then come back with the white. Until the boundary line is acceptable. After this application of gray, it'll be close to acceptable. Need to come back with the white. There's some places where the white didn't cover very well, and it needs a second coat. And there's some places where the gray went too far back onto the white, and the line needs to be redefined. Sort of unfortunate is that the most difficult one is the one that's the most visible, which is this one right down here on the bottom. For some reason, it's really hard to define where that line is. To get the angle right, I think. If I look at it from this angle, maybe I can That's it's pretty close to being okay. I'll come back at it with the white and see. I'm very, very careful with the white coming back in the other direction. Especially since the white needs to be recoated anyway. This is an area where it did not cover very well. Without the glasses, it looks not too bad. With them, it doesn't look great. The gray paint didn't level very well. There's just brush marks everywhere, but I don't know. I can't really do much about that. So, shortcut. The shortcuts were just like one failure after the other. They just were. Which was unfortunate because if they worked, they would have been a shortcut. But as it is, they didn't work, so they weren't a shortcut. And now I'm ending up taking quite a bit more time. Pretty much just redoing. So as I said many, many times, this is not a how-to show. But frequently it's a how not to show. And it's a stream, not a show really. In that sometimes you just get to watch me try to repair something that didn't work. Wow, she is really, really wound up. One of the dogs. then then the other one joins in and we get a duet. That's what's happening now. Man. Oh, wow, that was just stupid. Okay, I totally lost focus there, trying to figure out why the dogs are barking as I tried to rinse my brush off in the paint. That was pretty funny. I guess that was mostly on camera too. Whatever it is, none of the other people in the house are doing anything about it. Maybe the other people in the house are the reason they're barking. So one of the dogs really likes to be a watchdog. And sometimes it's just like a friendly greeting. She'll bark and bark and bark. At the same time, her tail is wagging furiously. It's like I want to be your friend. Sometimes it's more of I don't know what that is and I want it to go away. The thing. Let's stop for a second. I'm almost tempted to take a break and see what the heck is going on. Well, that attempt to fix that just didn't work. Maybe I'll try to wipe it off. This just isn't. It's one of those spots where it's just not covering. Okay, well, it's a little bit of work, but it's not terrible. So on Friday, I'll be coming back with the white paint. I'm going to let that dry. I'm not going to try to do more on that today. I'm not going to come back with the white after I'm done with this gray. For two reasons. One is I want to make sure the gray paint is dry. And the other is, as you know, it's like, oh, I see what's happening here. The surface of the paint is starting to evaporate a little bit. And it's becoming more viscous. There was almost like a little film on the top. So the white, two reasons. One is I want to make sure the gray is dry before I come back at it with the white, because I don't want to just end up with light gray. And the other is that, as you know, when it gets to the last half of the stream, I tend to lose focus just a little bit. The hand doesn't go where I want it to go. I knock things over. So it's coming back with the white. It's like kind of the final stage of this. Hopefully, I just want it to go well so I don't have to come back, except for maybe a tiny little spot here or there with the gray paint. Most of the white, let's say at least 90% of the white, is just second coating some areas that didn't cover all that well the first time. And I've learned not to make any shortcuts. Well, we'll see. I tried one shortcut at the beginning of this stream when there were some circles, mold circles that needed to be repaired. That didn't go very well. So there's some molding circles that needed to be repaired. And I took a shortcut, and we'll be finding out. in just a little while how that turned out. Yeah, I can feel it already that, and you can probably see it, that I'm just not getting the lines quite like I'd like to have them. So it is a good thing that I'm near the end of this. To go much longer, things would not go well. Yeah, it's messed up again. That's going to take some very, 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 very lucky white to come back. Try to fix that. See how it goes. This little one has been a pain. I have to say, it's been difficult. A lot of it on this one, once again, is that the white didn't cover very well. So it needs a second coat. It would look a lot better with a second coat. Assuming that I can get the second coat on without getting it all over where I want the gray paint to be. I think maybe I should start with this one on Friday. Just because this is the one that needs the most work. That's how it looks anyway. This one looks like it needs the most work, and so I should, well, not the most work, the most delicate work, I should say. I think I'll make sure I start with that. Yeah, that one. That needs some effort, but without, as I'm looking at it at a distance here, without the head magnifier, they're not too bad. And where this one looks bad, it's mainly because the white didn't cover, not so much the line. It's just it needs a second coat. Okay, let me get this clean as much as I can, and I'm going to try to straighten up and ease my back just a bit. Some isopropyl here to try to get more of the paint out. Not. I think I'm going to need some lacquer thinner. I keep resorting to that more and more because I'm finding that the paint kind of builds up in the base of the bristles. And since I'm going to be using that for white paint next, I don't want the white to dissolve the gray. I want the white to dissolve the gray and end up with when I want white. Yeah, see, you can. A fair amount of paint is coming out of here. Okay. Well, I'm going to stack those up a little more nicely. Here, let me show you. That's how they're coming along. And the gray, I brushed it on. It was a little bit thick, I guess, and you can see brush marks all over it. But if one follows my advice, is to let, when people are looking at it, keep them at least 18 inches away, and have the lights not be too terribly bright. Okay, and then that always makes things look better. So on Friday, I'll be getting the white out again. Not white out. It's not white out. It's white paint. I'm going to be getting the white paint back in practice here. Doing white touch up on these things, doing a second coat, a little bit of things with the lines, but not very much. I missed really that. That always happens, right? Just when I'm wrapping up, I go, there's a spot there. I'm in a significant spot that needed to be painted. It's just like I just missed it. And I'll probably, when I come back on Friday, I'll probably find more than one. Really, that when I'm looking at this, I don't like it. But it's not like I don't like it enough to just, no. I have learned my lesson too many times, over and over and over again. Just stop. Know when to stop, because the effort to touch up that one tiny little spot would probably lead to quite a mess. And I don't want that. I want this to be moving along. What I'm going to do like I said, on Monday I'll be bringing the white paint out, and I'll be especially here, like you can see, it looks like there's gray on there. I'm going to be doing that, and then putting second coats on a lot of places where like here, where it's not so much the gray is over, but it just didn't cover the first time, and try to make it look just a little bit better, a little more evenly white. I found that the white covers pretty well for a white paint compared to some others, but that it does look better with a second coat. So that's what I'll be doing, is the white, and then hopefully there'll be minimal need for gray, coming back with gray paint to touch that up. Hopefully, minimally. Just putting these up and out of the way. And I'll get another piece of paper towel and cover them up, just to try to keep them, from getting dust all over them. Fire's away. Well, what I should do now is I should go down and get those 3 pieces of that I just touched up with spray paint. And see if they turned out okay, or if that's a mess too. I'm going to wander around a little bit. I'm going to get rid of some things, toss some trash away, put some cardboard away. It didn't turn out okay. So I'm going to spritz them now with the primer. Spritz them again. Turn out then is that they're going to be, maybe I can just deal with it through placement. So those 3 pieces are the stands for the railings. Oh, here, yeah. These are things that are going to be painted red. These need to be painted red on top and the bottom. And this is the elevator. So the elevator doors I have found out are red. So they'll be painted red also. That's what I'll be doing either later today or tomorrow, is painting these red. They'll probably need 2 coats. So I need to remember to do that. I'm going to get another little box. I have lots of little boxes. Very handy for this sort of thing, to carry parts around. Advertising anything in particular with these boxes, other than that I find it very helpful to have little boxes. So there, this is the thing that needs to be done. Put it here, right where I'll probably either knock it over or forget it. Getting where there's not too terribly much I can do until those display panels are done, unless I feel like doing some. Here, I can do some decals. Why not? Let me see if I can pull this off. These two parts. They have decals put on them. Well, this isn't ambidextrous. It's different on one side than the other. So I don't know which is the top and which is the bottom. That is going to be a potential problem. Hope it's not a big problem. It goes like this. It looks like this goes like this. From the instructions, it looks like you can see there's a big side and a small side. It pretty much looks like it's supposed to go this way. There's 3 decals that go on here and one big one that goes on here. I'm going to deal with these first because I can tell which is the top and the bottom because these buttons are underneath the screen, the lights or whatever they are. I need decals number 4, 5, and 24. This one is number 8. Well, I'll get the decal sheet out and let's find out. Let's all find out together what I'm getting into. Assuming I can find the decal sheet. Here we are. There's 4 and 5. They are different from each other. So I guess I need to be careful about which goes where. 4, 5, and 24. I would have thought it would be 21. No, this doesn't make sense. Number 24 is USS Enterprise, something San Francisco, California. But the decal, there's a big decal, this big decal is supposed to go there, and that's number 21. I don't know where 24 is supposed to go now. I'm really very confused. I mean, 4 and 5, I can tell what those are. They're like these two, 4 and 5, and they go on the sides. There isn't any location for them. So you just have to kind of pick a spot and then make it symmetric. Decal number 6. So this makes it look like decal number 6 is a square. But decal number 6 is this gigantic mass of buttons and lights and things. Just this whole big thing, which is not a square. It does pretty much fill it. Decal number 24. That's what it says, 24. Look here. That's 21, and that's 24. I do not understand. I am really how confusing can this get? There's a lot of decals that go on these displays. I don't see where the USS Enterprise, Starship class, San Francisco, California, see a place for that. Unless it's meant to go. I'm just sitting here being confused. Yeah, and here it says decal number 7. But I guess these 4 things are all part of decal number 7. Okay, well, confusion aside, this absolutely has to go there. I don't see any way around it. I mean, that's what that is. That is the main display panel. It's the right size, but it's decal number 21, not number 24, which is that, which doesn't make sense at all. So here goes whatever. Here goes the thing. This is clean water. I just got some clean water here, except for a little piece of dirt that's floating in it, some sort of fuzz. I'm not going to put the decal on the side panel yet until I'm going to do some fitting. I want to make sure that it's the right side up, even though I'm pretty sure I know which way it's supposed to go. I'm going to do the big one first. I'm just going to cut this off the sheet and then trim it. I've done that with the others before. It's just safer and easier, I think, to do that. First, I thought that these were like going to be peel and stick stickers, but they turned out to be decals, which is okay. It's probably even better because peel and stick stickers, if you don't get them right, you can end up tearing them trying to reposition them. With decals, they can slide around a little bit. Okay, well, this is a really huge one. It's going to take a while to get it off of the paper. I'm going to do two things with it. One is I'm going to get it, I'm going to let it get wet just by floating it in the water first. To get it all wet. And then what they recommend doing, I've had some success in doing this, instead of letting it float in the water, okay, where it could just like come off and then happens and then fold in on itself, is to like put it on a wet paper towel or a sponge and just let it soak that way. Curled up nicely. Well, be really nice curling. Good job curling, guys. It's really easy to get impatient with these, and I know that because I've gotten impatient with these, is to get impatient and try to slide them off and then tear them, especially a big one like this, uh, before they're completely off. The other is to let them float in the water and then have it float off, and then the decal sinks, and sometimes the decal sinks and the paper floats. Sometimes you get lucky and the paper sinks and the decal floats, but then you still have to pull it out of the water, which is also a risky thing to do. In this case, since it's a really big decal, the whole thing needs to come off at once. The wet paper towel is very wet. It's dripping all over the floor. You don't get to see that happening. Lucky you. Fortunately, it's just a concrete floor, so it's nothing, no harm done there. These things are they're like, I don't know if you ever heard of avalanche theory. Okay, it's a branch of mathematics to describe things like avalanches, where nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, and all of a sudden, whoosh, everything happens, right? So it's just a very discontinuous sort of thing. This is pretty much the same. It's like it's just not moving, it's not sliding, it's not coming off, and then all of a sudden it does. I mean, but it's not sudden. Obviously, if it were sudden, it would already be off. But yeah, it's starting to slide here. But there's a lot of it. The whole thing needs to slide all at once. This is like 10 times bigger than the decals I've put on other models before. Okay, let's see how this goes. The big one like this is always bubbles and wrinkles. Loosen up and slide. Get it symmetric here. It's pretty even across the top. it wouldn't move. And then I tried to get the wrinkles out, and it moved. I think it needs to go left just a little bit. It's it's really not wanting to go anywhere at the moment. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that's good though. There are little circles underneath it that I didn't sand out that now show, and they're just going to have to be part of it. They're going to have to be part of it forever. I thought that wouldn't be an issue, and it is. But there's no way I can fix that, not with the decal already in place. That's too bad. It'll just be part of the display, the monitor. Okay. 4 on the left, 5 on the right. Almost noon? Wow. Time is creeping by slowly today. Yeah, well, one thing I've learned here is that if there's any flaw in the plastic anywhere at all, it's going to show up in a major way somehow. There's no real good directions about where these are supposed to go. Yellow's on the top. You kind of have to remember that. The little yellow buttons are on the top. It just says on the left and the right. You can see it. And it looks like they're about the same, just slightly higher than the screen. That probably isn't quite as important as making sure that they are even. That is to say that one on one side is at the same location as the one on the other side. This is number 4. This goes on this side. Smaller and easier to handle. So it's the same thing. I'm just going to keep it here until it slides off and then try to get it in place. And I think regardless of the size, even though it's smaller, it'll probably take just as long to soak through and come off as the big one. So it looks like the top is lined up with the top of the inset thing here. I'll get one on and get it to a place where it looks sort of okay, and then try to match the other one to the other side. This whole thing is going to turn out looking adequate. It's not going to be a great looking model, but it's not going to be terrible. I guess I'll just be honest about it. That's how it's shaping up to be. The top of this kind of in line with the top of that there, and then to be straight in relationship to the sides. Maybe I want it away from the wall a little bit. Kind of more in the middle of the panel here rather than to the side. It's trying to rotate on me. That's nice going there. Just when you get it straight, it decides, it doesn't move, doesn't move, doesn't move, and then I don't want it to move, and then it moves. That looks okay. And I want to get the other one, yeah, kind of more or less the same place on the other side. I don't know why it's up so high, but that's where it's placed. I think it would look better if it were down lower. I wonder if I can move it still. Yeah. I think it would look better if it were more in line. Yeah, now it's floating with the. And then it's not floating. I like that better. Don't you think? Or don't you? Look straight and not straight at the same time. I just don't. That'll do. No, number the other one on the other side and see if I can get it kind of in the same location on the other side. Dog was barking a lot and then stopped, and I haven't heard anything since. So I'm going to assume that it's okay. Otherwise, I would have heard people talking and doing something. The construction noise has gotten quieter. I'm hoping that that's a good thing. Yep, there it goes. It sinks to the bottom. That's one of the problems with the decals is sometimes they'll sink to the bottom and then cannot be retrieved. This one will go on this side. Hopefully, pretty much the same height. I'm going to have to, I could measure, but I don't know how compulsive I want to get about it. I guess pretty compulsive. I have a nice measuring thing here, a ruler. That I can use to measure it. Look at me. Look at how I managed to get my work surface all cluttered up with little bits of paper and just typical, right? Is it almost? Is it about noon? I'm supposed to go for another hour. Ooh. Okay. Well, I do have to say that after I get this decal on, I'm going to have to take a break. Be a little. Just I am going to have to take a break after I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then do a probably like a 10-minute thing, long enough that I don't put the break sign on the break screen, and then we'll come back and decide what to do next. I think I would like to put the big decal on the main screen side panel, but I'm going to have to. What I think I'll end up doing, what I'm going to end up doing is actually bringing this bringing the circle over and okay, this is where I'm going to do the measuring thing. And an eighth. Tool using animal here. Just need to make sure it's crooked. That actually looks kind of okay. So there, despite the bits of whatever water, there's the main screen panel. It's the main screen panel with the main screen. There's a planet there. There's some lights and buttons and things. It's pretty symmetric. Looks pretty straight. Yeah, I would say that this is now done. And what I'm going to do is put this up out of the way. Put this back. I'm going to put this back in the box for a moment. And clean up a little bit. The decals leave a lot of debris, I guess. Yeah, they do. And I'm going to put the brake screen on, as I do need to take a break. And I'll be back in less than, I hope, 10 minutes at most. So I'll see you then. Took a while, but it eventually came back. Yay. What I'm going to do is I'm pushing some things out of the way. At least, well, trying to. Get them a little more distant. Is I'm going to bring the circle out, because I think I need to do that. There we go. And the reason I need to do that is to figure out exactly where this goes so that I can get the decal on, not upside down. And I need to find is underneath here, they look kind of symmetric, is I need to find number 15. That's in here. So this goes like this. Like that. Okay. And then this either goes like this. Well, there's no other way around it. I mean, I could go like this, I guess. So it looks like it goes like this. And then this goes here. Looks like maybe it should go this way, which is different than the picture. Yeah, it does. It has to go like this because need the larger panel. I'm glad I tested this. Need the larger panel to cover up the side of this. This just attaches. So it's the opposite of the way it looks on the picture. But the bigger part goes up against the weapons control panel, which is this one. Okay. That was an important thing to test this. These parts just don't fit very well. So this is the top. There. And then this eventually will go there like that. Yeah. There's an arrow on it now. That will tell me. I could actually attach that. I mean, this is something I could do, is put these on, but I'm not going to yet, because sometimes the parts just don't fit. But I needed to know that so that I can put this decal on. Yeah, like that. So this is I'm just going to do that. It's a gigantic decal, number 6. This gigantic thing goes here like that. Kind of up. Kind of like, there. Mutter, bubble. I'm being incoherent. That's what I do. I've got what? Half hour left. So plenty of time to cut this out. Take these off so I can actually see up close. This is actually bigger than the view screen was, I think. And that was a big decal. And every decal place will tell you to trim it, as close to the paint as you can. I'm not going to use any more decals today, so I'm going to set this aside. Put it back to where it was. Here. Try to remember where I put it. And keeping this here just so I can, help align, make alignment with the height of the decal. So that's one thing I've learned that I will pass along as a how-to, is always test fit everything. I had a, test. I don't have to say ahead of time because you're test fitting it, so it is, before you put it on. But sometimes you'll find that parts don't fit and they need to be modified. Sometimes you find that the instructions tell you to put it on upside down, or maybe the instructions are totally ambiguous and they leave you with no clue, really, about how something is supposed to be done. That has happened. So yeah, the test fitting is an important thing to do. And in this case, I would have, if I hadn't test fit it, I would have put this upside down. It is what would have happened. Okay. Well, this is a big decal. I'm going to put it in the water here first, and then use the wet paper towel thing again until it slides off. But while I'm waiting for this to come off the paper, let me talk about Dice and Dungeons, which is a group of family and friends, and our main purpose is an amazing D&D show that is pretty much, I mean, our DM just has made an amazing show. She's just done an amazing job. Three of us play the characters, and we do a really good job of staying in character. So it's not just people hanging around in the basement playing the game. We're putting on a legitimate D&D show, and it's really good, and you should watch it. And it is with a live chat on Twitch on Sundays at 2, 3 Sundays a month. Watch your social media to find out what's going when. Has there been chat going on and it's not showing up on my chat screen? I'm sorry. This is really weird. So that's a chat from... Something weird is going on. There's something about I've been disconnected from the server, but my chat screen isn't showing any chat. I don't know. Has this whole episode not been running? It says it's still doing it. That's the chat from Monday. Okay, I've become confused. Yeah, there was a fair amount of chatting on Monday. Nobody's on today, but I've got two different screens. One is my large print chat screen, which allows me to read it without my glasses. It's a little fuzzy, but it's big enough. And then the other one shows me more or less what you're seeing, so I can tell if I'm still on camera or not, which I sometimes am. Kind of on camera now. This is starting to slide off. It's a really big decal. It's really kind of difficult to work with. Very much wants to wrinkle. Okay, well, I got it on the plastic here. I want it to kind of float around here because they could have made this maybe 3 decals instead of 1. I just have to just saying. A bit lower. Yeah, when I want it to move, it won't, and when I don't, it does. Such is the way. That look about that might be okay. I don't want it to go too low. Okay, well, this is all wet. I have to try to get this even out, get the wrinkles out. Yeah, that's what I mean. When I want it to move, it doesn't, and when I don't, it does. Hmm. It just looks like when the light I mean, when you're looking at it, depending on the angle, you can tell it's a decal. It just glistens, right? See? So no one's fooling anybody otherwise. Such is the way of this model. Looks ever so slightly crooked. I'm not trying to move this thing now. Rotate it just the slightest little bit. It's off like about a 64th of an inch, really. Okay, well, this is what it is. No, it's just got a gigantic decal on it that shines and shimmers just like a decal does, because that's what it is. It's got all sorts of wet paper towels, getting everything wet all over the place. The way this will work is that this goes here. Clean up some of this mess. This goes here like that. And it does fit eventually. And then this goes like that. They're supposed to line up, which they kind of do, if you move them around. And then the weapons control thing goes here. Yeah, the attaching of all of these is going to be interesting. But I did that. I did some things. I'm going to keep this out because I might end up doing something like doing a little bit of assembly on Friday. This thing, okay, the chair comes off because it's supposed to rotate. This thing goes here. Yeah, opposite the, and that makes sense, opposite the main view screen. That's the captain's navigation thing. So that goes there. And, what didn't happen with the model, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this, is, they made the ring. You can see the circle, right? But what about the middle? The middle is empty. So that really should be the same color. So one thing I could end up doing, maybe I'll end up doing that, I don't know, I think I still got enough of this brown paint, is I need to have a base for this. And maybe what I'll end up doing is, just so that the middle is the same color instead of just whatever it's sitting on, is cut out this maybe a smoother piece of cardboard and paint it this brown color so it doesn't look really doofus. No, watch Dice and Dungeons. Watch our D&D show. It is really, really good, and you will not regret it. I guarantee that. Absolutely guarantee that you will not regret spending some time checking out our D&D show, either when it streams on Twitch or on YouTube later, or both. Friends, family, enemies, everybody should partake in that. Yes, you should. Okay. Well, that's going to go there. I don't know if I feel like attaching it yet today or not. Maybe. Let me see how it fits. You kind of have to decide what to use as an adhesive here. It's just there's not much of a contact point there. It goes into a slot. I think what I can do is put a little, like some epoxy on it, like right along here, and then just kind of hold it down. And then it will be attached. Everything needs to be attached to this anyway. So why not? Why not do that? I could use contact cement, but I'm pretty sure I'm just going to epoxy it. That is what I'm going to do. Things doing. I gave up on these and resprayed them with the primer, and now I'm going to repaint them with the metallic. This will be done sometime in the future. What I managed to do is scatter stuff everywhere. I was keeping my work surface kind of clean and neat, and it apparently just gave up. I must have just given up on that because it's just not anymore. This box is way too big for what it's doing. But I don't have another smaller one handy right now, so I'm just going to keep it, put it down here, and kick it and knock it out of the way. Not that I intend to do that, it's just that that's very likely what's going to happen. Epoxy. Yeah. 5-minute epoxy. So I'll mix it up, let it sit for a couple minutes, and hold it in place for another 5+ minutes. What the heck is going on with this? Not only did my chat screen disappear, but I've got some sort of stupid pop-up. Wants me to buy some nonsense. I don't know. You can watch the whole process here. Hopefully this is an okay thing to do here near the end of the stream, is to mix up a little bit of epoxy. This, again, I will say, would be a task that would work really well with CA glue if I had more eye-hand coordination. Okay, I will explain with some frequency that many modelers will use CA glue because it grabs quickly. You don't have to sit around and wait for 5 minutes or sometimes a day for the stuff to cure. You can even get gel, so it fills in some gaps. You can get like slow cure that doesn't cure until you breathe on it or put some cure on it, but I can't use it because it requires getting the piece in place the first time. You know what I mean? It means being able to put it right where you want it, because sometimes the CA glue it'll just grab it. Okay. Let's keep that off because I'm going to keep bumping it. And for me, getting something in the right place the first time is not something that happens very often. That's why I kind of like contact cement. It kind of grabs it and holds it so it doesn't go flopping all over the place. You know what I mean? It like, especially a little part, I want it to stick, but I don't want it to, I want to be able to move it around because I might not have it in the right place. So the contact cement lets me do that. I'm using epoxy on this, though, because it does cure in 5 minutes or so, and it holds pretty well. I have to say, I did a nice job of painting the detail on all the little buttons and lights and stuff on that. I'm pretty happy with how that came out. You know, this model is looking, it's going to be okay. And it's not going to be the best, highly detailed, gorgeous model I've ever built, or anybody has, but it's okay. The captain's chair, this took 2 tries. I did it and then had to redo it. You know, so this is like the second time around, and it came out okay too. Okay, so this goes in this slot here. And that's the thing I needed to do is there. See, it didn't go into place right away. Just need to hold it. Hold it for a little while. Because it, unlike the contact cement, which would have grabbed right away, this doesn't hold right away. Okay, it has to cure for like the full 5 minutes, pretty much. Now, I can't say that it's a perfect fit, but there it is. This is broken like 3 times. The epoxy doesn't always hold that well. Okay, so now while I'm holding this for 4 or 5 minutes until it cures enough so that it doesn't keep falling off, I will continue to talk about Dice and Dungeons. Our D&D show is amazing. I play Ulsith Ralph, a Furbog fighter. Nicole plays Zoya Ansul, a changeling druid, and David Wong plays a Tabaxi bard who, well, you have to tune in and just get to know Nines, the Tabaxi bard. An interesting character who's kind of central to the show over the last few episodes that we've been recording, because Nines got himself into a contest with another musician with a genre of music that this other musician had created. Nines knows nothing about it, trying to play an instrument that he's never played before, has practiced apparently for a couple of hours for a concert that is happening the next evening. So what can go wrong? What could possibly go wrong other than everything can possibly go wrong at this point? But we'll see. So this is a musical contest. It's not a combat. Although who knows? It might turn into one. You never know what might happen. My character has been learning about his history and about some of the magical items that is recently acquired from kind of a quasi-military cult of elves. A set of armor and a magical hammer that has the ability to mend and bind, but I haven't learned how to use it yet. But I need to, because I need to repair the armor because it's broken. And I need to apparently do much more with this hammer than I ever expected, because I thought it was just a hammer, that did things. But no, it's much more than that. It has cultural and symbolic value. And occasionally we get into really serious combat situations. I have been mostly dead, I believe, 3 times now. Managed to get revived, thankfully, reluctantly on the part of Nines, who gave me a heal. Not like stepping on me with a heel or kicking me with a heel, but, a healing spell. That was good. It was good to not be mostly dead that way. I think what I'm going to do is, it's sort of holding, but I think the better part of Valor here is to actually put something on here with a little bit of weight. I'm going to grab this kind of heavy. It should work. Just to keep it, just to hold it. Okay, there, just like that. And it will just keep doing that until Friday, or maybe tomorrow. It depends. Do anything between now and then. Well, I did accomplish some things today. I painted gray on these panels. Okay. Went through the iteration process as I painted gray, and then I painted white, and then I painted gray again. They're looking like they're adequate. And I need to do some white again, not just to even up the lines like here, but also to improve the coverage. Okay, because just a second coat kind of thing. And these are getting close to being done. I mean, that part of it is close to being done. These are not anywhere near close to being done. So after I get the white and the gray adequate, okay, so that they're not like this, it looks kind of ragged. I want that to even out with the white paint. Okay. I might have to do the white paint twice. I might have to come back with little gray touch-ups if I get too much white on the gray and try to clean that up. But the process for these is a lengthy process. What will happen is, after I get this looking adequate, the display panel area, then I'm going to mask it all along here from this lip, this edge, over everything except this bottom panel. Okay, and this bottom panel is going to be painted, well, it has to be primed. It hasn't even been primed. I'm going to prime it with white. Okay, this is, when I primed this, I didn't prime that. I wasn't thinking ahead enough. So this could have all been primed at the same time. This was primed, but it didn't get primed at that time, because I had a different plan in mind, but that plan isn't going to work. So this needs to be masked off so that this shows. And then this is going to be primed the same color as this. Okay. Then I will recheck the taping. I want to make sure that if paint gets on this a little bit, I'm not too terribly concerned, because this is I'll talk about that later, but I don't want paint getting on there. And then this is getting to be painted the same color as the view panel. that I just showed you in the sides of the elevator doors. Okay. And then after that's done, okay, then I paint this little edge red. Hopefully that will go okay. I'm going to hand brush paint that because I can't, I probably could mask it on both sides and spray paint it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to paint it red by hand. It'll have brush marks on it, but other things, these do too. Okay, and then after that's painted red, this is painted the kind of insignia white, it's called. It's kind of a grayish brownish white. This is red. Then I mask this and mask that so that this part shows. And then spray paint this dark metallic color. That's the same color as the control panel here. So this would have been one step shorter, one step less, if I hadn't. What I thought is that I could paint it right without priming it, is what I was thinking. So prime, paint, well, first of all, mask, prime, paint, unmask, red, mask, paint. So I've got 1, 2, 3, like 5 steps. I have a lot of steps. There are many steps yet that will go into completing these five panels. The first step, in addition to the steps I've already taken, is to get the control panel white and gray kind of border looking adequate, which it isn't quite yet. It's getting closer, but it's not quite. Okay. And once that's adequate, then mask, prime, paint, unmask, red, mask, paint. And if all of that works, then it's decal. Many decals. Okay, and then this is just blank. That should have all sorts of buttons and lights and stuff on it, but it just doesn't. So, but that's how the model is. So that's what'll be happening step by step with those. And in the interim, well, I'm waiting for paint to dry pretty much. What I'll be doing is assembling the staircases. There's these little staircases that go around here. Okay, I've got the parts in a little container over there. I'll be putting these on. And then while I'm doing masking and waiting paint to dry, I'll be assembling the railings and then working on the chairs. So, things will be coming along. The other things that will need to be done, kind of an interim, is I've got some decals I need to put on the Apollo command module to get that completed so I can box it up and put it on the bottom shelf where it's safe and out of the way. And a decal set showed up for the Lotus Ford. And one of these days I have to get brave and figure out how to put the side decals, the sponsorship decals on that model. In the meantime, this is just going to sit here and the epoxy is going to cure. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. I will be back again on Friday at more or less 10 o'clock, going back to painting the display panels that go all the way around this, trying to get the frames looking adequate. Okay, I'm going to be doing that. And then I'll be doing continuing work on this, and probably at some point getting a piece of cardboard of some sort, probably just gluing this down to it after I painted it brown so that it doesn't, there's nothing underneath it. It's just so bizarre. this whole model is put together with like railings and steps and stuff, but the center of it, there should be like a piece of plastic underneath it. I'll fabricate something, and then it'll be big enough that I don't even have a box big enough for it. I'll have to find a box so I can stick it somewhere. Thanks, everybody, though. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you on Friday.